Hi, this is Simon Candy from Acoustic Guitar Lessons Online.net, and welcome to today's video lesson that I've created for you on a very common and useful finger picking pattern for your guitar playing. Now, in an earlier video, I covered the basics of finger picking, just the foundation, if you like, of the technique. If you're new to finger picking, I highly recommend you check that lesson out first. And if you look up to the top right of your video, this video, you will see an icon there. Click on it and you'll be taken directly to that lesson. Check that out and then come back here and you'll be in a much better position to take on what it is we're going to be looking at today. What that is, as I said, a very common finger picking pattern. It's sometimes referred to via a few different names. Travis picking is one of those. It's not Travis picking in the strictest sense. It's certainly got elements of Travis picking, but there's a lot more to Travis picking than this pattern alone. It's also sometimes called the clawhammer technique, and that comes from the world of banjo playing. It's not the clawhammer as banjo players would apply that technique, but it's similar again. So you can really call it what you want. Who cares at the end of the day? It's just a very useful finger picking pattern that you're going to hear in many songs. I'll call it the clawhammer technique for today's lesson. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the basics today, get the foundation so that you're up and running with the clawhammer finger picking technique, and in doing so you'll form a really good base for developing it much further. As I mentioned, you do, whether you realize it or not, hear this pattern in many finger picking songs. A couple of examples would be Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, Dust in the Wind by Kansas, and The Boxer by Simon and Garfunkel. Click the link below this video and download my free ebook audio advanced sounding easy to play finger picking patterns to check out even more finger picking ideas in addition to what we're going to cover in today's video. Alright, so the most important part of this finger picking pattern that we're looking at today is going to be the bass. That's going to be a very important reference point for us. So what you're going to find is the bass will always fall on the beat. The 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. And it will always be played with our thumb. Okay, so let's say I have a C chord. A bass pattern that we could play could be what we might call a 5/4 pattern, and what that means is our thumb is going to be playing the 5th string, then the 4th string of the chord, back to the 5th, and then the 4th. So it's going to alternate between those two notes, and they're going to always fall on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I'm actually doing there is playing the root note, and then the 3rd of the chord, back to the root, to the 3rd. Okay, that's a very common bass pattern for our clawhammer finger picking technique here. Now, what we do next is we pluck some higher strings in the chord in between those bass notes on the offbeats. So a very common pattern is this one, where we play a bass note, then another bass note on 2, and then on the end we pluck an open 3rd string, back to bass note on 3, open 2nd string, bass note on 4, back to an open 3rd string. And in fact, it's not an open 2nd string, it's a 1st fretted note there for a C chord. Okay, so if we talk through this, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't once you start playing it. So we're just simply playing 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and you can see the tab for this just up on the screen, right? So we're playing notes on the offbeats or the end of 2, 3, and 4, and then always the bass on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So once more, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay. Now, a common variation of the bass pattern is to play what we would call a 5/4, 6/4 pattern. So this is just in reference to the bass strings that we're playing and the order in which we're playing them. So in isolation, that would be 5, 4, 6, 4, 5, 4, 6, 4. Okay, I'm playing the root, then the 3rd of the chord, and then I've got to move my thumb to the 3rd fret on the bottom string to get the 5th of the chord, which is a G, and back to the 4th string to play the 3rd. Now, if the note names and the roots, thirds, fifths. If any of that sort of confuses you, don't worry, just forget about it all, because you don't really need to know all that. You just want to know that you're going to play a 5, a 4, a 6, a 4 in terms of strings. Okay, and this gives you a little bit more movement in the bass as opposed to just the 5/4 pattern. So if I do that 5/4, 6/4 pattern with added notes on top, it would sound like this. So that sounds pretty cool too. Now that's pretty much all there is to the claw hammer technique. That's the foundation. That's what you want to get down first. Now the great thing about this pattern is we can apply it to any chord we wish. So let's say I've got a G chord. There is a difference here, and that is the root note of G is on the 6th string, whereas for C it was on the 5th. Okay, so it does change the bass pattern slightly, but it's the same thing that we're really doing. So with a G chord, we could play what we might call a 6/4 bass pattern, just alternating between the 6th string and the 4th string, which in this case gives us a G, so the root note, and a D, which is the 5th of the chord. And if I add in my hits on the offbeats, there I get my claw hammer on a G chord. Okay, and like the C chord, we could jazz up the bass a little bit if you like and play what we would call in this case a 6/4-5/4 pattern, in reference again to the strings that our thumb is playing in the bass. So if I do that along with the notes on the offbeats, it sounds like that. Okay, pretty cool. That is our claw hammer technique, basically. So it's very simple, but as we're going to discover shortly, it's a very, very useful picking pattern, finger picking pattern for your guitar playing. For more common, useful, really cool finger picking patterns for your guitar playing, click the link below this video in the description and download my free ebook audio. And in that ebook, I'm going to take you through 3 more very common easy to play but advanced sounding finger picking patterns for your guitar playing. All right, so that in essence is the claw hammer finger picking pattern. And with just that pattern, we can now apply it to lots of different musical situations. We can see that the pattern really doesn't change from one chord to another. There's minimal changes, as we saw before with the C and G chords, but essentially it's the same pattern being played over and over again. So the next step is to apply it to a chord progression. I'm going to do that for you now, just give you a little example of the claw hammer finger picking technique applied to a progression. You should learn this example and then take the idea and apply it to your own chord progressions. And in doing so, you'll train this into your playing further. So let me demonstrate that for you. Okay, excellent. So that's the claw hammer finger picking pattern. That's an example there of applying it to a chord progression. So what you want to do now is the same. Take the pattern and apply it over and over again. The key is always in applying the things that you learn, and the more you apply them, the easier and the more natural you're able to use them in your playing. So be sure to do that. For more finger picking patterns for your guitar playing, click the link below this video and download my free ebook audio, easy to play advanced sounding finger picking patterns for your guitar playing. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my YouTube channel here to receive regular notifications of all upcoming video lessons that I'll be creating for you. And visit my website, www.acousticguitarlessonsonline.net, for many, many, many more acoustic guitar resources for your playing. Thanks for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.